Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where we are keeping up the pace, 2 puzzles a day forever and ever. Well, the last 3 years at least. Maybe a bit longer than that now. And Simon's already therefore done a puzzle on the channel today. I'm going to do one now. And we invite you to just watch along until you're familiar with variant Sudoku and then give it a try yourself once you know how to do it. So you won't have seen this rule set before because I've not seen it before. Well, I mean, one or two of you will have, but very few. And I'll have a go. I'll explain the rules in a minute. To pay some attention, and if you're just going to have a go at the puzzle on your own, read them carefully because it's a variant on X sums that I haven't seen. And it takes some understanding. And I think I've got my head around it, although I will benefit frankly from reading the rules again one more time before we start. Now, don't forget that on Patreon there's still a day and a half left to enter our Alice in Sudoku Land competition. No, that's not true. There are 11 and a half days left to enter the competition. There's a day and a half left to get your name shouted out on the channel for solving all the puzzles. 12 puzzles needed to do that. Any 3 to enter the competition by the 20th. Thank you so much, as always, to Panthera, Monty Knox and the Asylum for creating that brilliant Sudoku hunt on Patreon, where you can also see Simon's 3-hour solve of a listener crossword, which is brilliant, has a fascinating conclusion. Some people have watched it all the way through, and we thank them for their diligence, and Richard Rogan for creating the puzzle. Which reminds me, I've got to have a go at the Times Monthly Club special soon for this month, and that'll go on Patreon in due course as well. That's the cryptic crossword end of our content, of course. And for more Sudoku, try our apps. They are brilliant. Mark Bennett pointed out yesterday that I've been underselling them, that they are really, really educational, entertaining, and just really fabulous tools for learning about variant Sudoku and for whiling away many, many hours of fun with some of the greatest setters in the world. There's even some by us in those apps, so do check them out. There are none with this rule set, though. So, what's going on? So, Lizzie, we've featured Lizzie before on the channel. Actually, last time she objected to Simon having, or somebody having rechristened a puzzle that had originally been called Thermo Sudoku. I thought the Begging Man was quite amusing and interesting and distinguished the puzzle, but Lizzie didn't like it. So I've stuck with her title, which this time is Shifted X Sums 2, because it's the second variant of the rule set. So that's why you might well have seen it before. Well, don't think this puzzle's new either, but it is International Women's Day, so we're featuring Lizzie. Anyway, normal Sudoku rules apply. So we're going to be putting 1 to 9 in every row, column and box, which is fine. We can understand that bit of the rules. Now, a clue outside the grid indicates, I'm going to read it all through first, it indicates the sum of the first X digits from the nth cell from that side, where X is the digit in the nth cell and N is the digit in the first cell from that side. Now, nobody is going to understand that without an example. So, in a row, Lizzie says, with 5, 1, 4, 8, 3, 9, 7, 6, 2, we can all agree that is a possible Sudoku row. Now, the clue from the left side would it would look at the 5th digit in the row, which is this 3, and it would then add 3 cells starting from there. So it's looking, that is N is 5, and N is saying that X is this 5th digit. So we're then adding these 3 digits, including the X, and we get 19. So the clue from the left would be 19. Now it would be a different clue from the right, where you'd look at 2 as the N, and that would say that 6, the second digit from that side, is the X. And it would count these 6 cells looking that way. And that would add up to 37. So the clue from the right for that row would be 37. So that is how the rule set works. I think we can probably get our heads around that. I mean, I understand it now as I go through that example. Whether I'll understand it as we go through the puzzle, we shall find out. You can maybe gauge the difficulty. I think it was only 2 stars on Logic Masters Germany from what I saw. So Maybe not the hardest puzzle we've done on the channel, but even to understand that rule set, that might be half the difficulty here, half the battle. Anyway, give it a try if you fancy it. Check the video length perhaps. I am going to start now, begin the puzzle solving part of the video length. Let's get cracking. And yeah, there's a big old 40 there, but there's a little 1. And is that going to put a 1 there? No, I don't think it is. It's putting N there. Oh, this could be literally anything. Oh, that's really annoying. Okay, let me just check with my brain to see whether I think I am understanding. Yes, if this was a 5 to choose a number at random, then the 5th cell along here would be X, and then we'd be counting up cells from X going that way. Obviously, it would only be one cell that would be a value of 1. So the 5th cell would tell us to count one cell. So unfortunately, this actually tells us very little. Well, it's a kind of numbered rooms clue. It tells us that whatever digit is there, that's the cell looking in this direction that 1 appears in. So it could be a 1, but it could be any digit. It could be a 9 and 1 would be there. So that clue is not actually very valuable. So let's go to the big clue then, the 40 clue. Right. I think I'm now understanding that the only way one of the clues outside the grid could begin with a 1 is if it was starting to count in cell 1, and it would count one cell in cell 1 which would have a value of 1, and therefore the only way that an outside clue could begin a row or column with a 1 is if it was 1. So that one could be, but this one can't be a 1. Now that's good, because we've got to be counting 7 or 8 cells to get to 40. Now there is a secret that you may need to know about every row, column and box in a sudoku. They all add up to the same number, and that number's always 45, which is brilliant because they always contain the digits 1 to 9. That's what they add up to. Now, the numbers that we're not counting in this row, the outies if you like, outside the sum, can only therefore add up to 5 and must add up to 5. And that can only be made up of 1 or 2 digits. And that means we're going to be counting 7 or 8 cells to get to 40. And we're going to have to begin that count. If we can't put in a 1 and begin it here, and I don't think we can, because then the clue would be 1, then we have to put in 2 or 3 and begin to count here or here. That's going to mean there's a 7 or 8 in one of these cells, isn't it? It's also going to mean that 2 or 3 is part of the outie sum. So now we know that the outie sum is not a single 5, it's a 2 and a 3 to make 5, and therefore the count of the cells, the number of cells we're counting is 7, which belongs in one of those 2 cells. Now it either goes to the 7 digits beginning with a 7 and a 3, or it goes 3, 2, and the 7 digits beginning with a 7. Now, can this be a 7 for the southbound clue of 11? That would tell us to start the count here, and we could do 2 cells that would be 2, 9, or 3 cells that began with 3 and added up to 11. Yes. So that is not it. Right, let's have a look at what I want to call 1 down, because I'm slightly in crossword mode, but column 1. Now again, this is either saying start the count in cell 2, which is now there, or cell 3, which is there. Now can we get a fix on that, to quote an Asterix character? If it was a 2, how many cells would we be counting to get to 11? Well, if it was a 2, this couldn't be a 4. Right, a little bit of education then. If we're counting up cells to get to 11, and they all have to be different because they're in the same column, you can't count 4 cells beginning with a 4, because the only way of making up 11 in 4 cells is 1, 2, 3, 5, which doesn't use a 4. So 1 won't do it. So we must be counting 2 or 3 cells. Ah, right. So that 2 or 3 is going to put another, that is the N, and that is going to put an X, which is 2 or 3, into one of these 2 cells. And that is going to give us a 2-3 pair in the box. And that is going to rule out this being a, well, no, it's going to rule out that being a 3, which was going to put 7 there and make this a 2. I don't know if you remember, but I said that this row, its outies add up to 5. And if that was a 3, the 7 count of 40 would start there, and this would be a 2. We now know that's not possible because 2 and 3 are in those cells. So this doesn't start with a 3. That's a 2. There's our first number in the grid. And this is going to give us a bit of a clue to everything. So that's a 7, and we're adding those 7 digits. Let's colour them orange. And that is the other outie. So those add up to 40 plus 2. To get to 45, we need a 3 there. Going down, we're now being told that the count of 11 starts here. Let's do a different colour for down counts. That is going to be 3 cells. Let's make them purple. And these 2 are going to add up to 8, and they can't use a 2 or a 3, so they've got to be a 1-7 pair, and we know the order because we've got a 7 in the box. And you see, as I was understanding the rule, I was thinking there is no way this is enough clues to make this puzzle uniquely solvable. But now we've suddenly got a whole bunch, and we've really only looked at 2 clues, which is bizarre in a way. Actually, we've done them both. I was thinking of marking or flashing any clue that I've solved with green, and I'm going to do it because I've effectively solved row 1 and column 1's clues. That is saying that a count of 11 starts in row 2 and it's counting 3 cells which go 3, 1, 7, and that's worked. And this, however we fill in 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 here, this is going to be a count of 7 cells starting in column 2 that makes 40. So that has worked. Right, let us look at this 7 that we've generated in row 4. That is saying that the count starts here in column 7. We're obviously going to be counting 2 cells or 3 cells to make 9, and it's not going to be 2 cells. Look what happens if you put a 2 in here. You're counting 2 cells to get to 9, you get a 7 here, and that's a hideous clash with that 7. So it's not a 2, it's a 3. We're adding those 3 cells, orange for an across sum. Those 2 add up to 6 to make the 9 total, and they are either 1, 5 or 2, 4. And that annoyingly hasn't contributed a starting cell or indeed anything to any other clue. So let's have a look at 33, which is the next big number after 40. Okay, this digit, this is telling us the starting cell of the count, and it can't be after that because 4 cells can only add up to 30 as a maximum, 9, 8, 7 and 6. So this is a 4 or a 5, and the count starts in one of these cells. So let's think about that. If it was a 4, the count, if it was a 5, it would be adding 5 cells. Yes, 4 cells isn't enough. There are only 5 cells from here onwards in the row. And yeah, there are only 4 cells from 5 onwards. So if that was a 5, to get to 33, we'd have to start here and count 5 cells. You'd have 5s in both of those cells. Impossible. So that's a 4. And we are starting the count in row 4. But now I don't know whether we're adding 5 or 6 cells. 5 is the minimum because it requires 5 cells to make 33. And 6 is the maximum because there are only 6 cells in the grid starting there that we could be counting. So if it was 6 cells, those would add up to 33. That would be a 4 is 37. These 2 would add up to 8. They couldn't be 1, 7 or 2, 6. They would definitely be 3, 5. Now, if this was a 5, these cells would add up to 33. They would consist of 9, well, one of them would be a 5. The others would add up to 28. They would be 9, 8. And there'd have to be another 11, either 5, 6 or 7, 4. And both of those are impossible. Right. Yes, so what I'm visualizing is a 5 here and us adding, these 5 cells to get to 33. And it is actually impossible. Maybe the simplest way of seeing that it's impossible is by saying if those added to 33 plus the 4 there is 37, these would add up to 8, which would mean they had to be either 134 or 125, and that's clearly impossible because 5 and 4 would have been used in the row. So this is not a 5, that is a 6. We're adding all of these cells, and whatever I said these added up to is definitely true. So those add up to 33, plus 4 is 37. These add up to 8. They don't have a 7, they don't have a 6. That's a 3-5 pair. That clue is done now. As long as we don't disobey this pencil marking, we can put 1, 2, 7, 9 in any order there and we're right. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, I hope I said. I'm not sure if I mentioned 8. Now, what clue? Okay, this cell in its column, this is only 5, 6, 8 or 9. Well, it's not 9 because that would start the count here and you couldn't get to 10. It's not 8 because that would start the count here. You could only do it by adding 2 cells and that would be 2, 8, which would clash with 8. So the count starts in column 5 or 6. But it could be doing 1, 2, 3 or 4 cells. 4 is possible as the X in this row because it would be 4, 1, 2, 3 in some order to make 10. Maybe I need to consider this one instead. 5, 6, 8 or 9. Again, it can't be a 9. Not because there aren't enough cells starting there to make 8, but you would only get a count of 1 and that wouldn't be right. So if this was an 8, that would be 2, 6. You'd start the count here. You could only do 2 cells, and that would work. If this was a 6, you'd start the count here. Now we're going to 8, so it could be 2 or 3. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's interesting. This can't be a 5 by sudoku because there's a 3-5 pair in the box. Right, so okay, if it's a 6, it starts here. Now, if that was a 2, we'd have 2, 6. If that was a 3, to get to the count of 8, it would have to be 3, 1, 4. Right, that's not possible. I'll just show you why. If we started in column 6 with a 3, the X sum would be here. It would have to be with a 3 in it making 8. Those would be 1, 4. And now you can't put a pair making 6 here because you either need the 1 for 1, 5 or the 4 for 2, 4. So it is not a 3. So we definitely start with a 2 in either column 6 or column 8. And therefore we have a 6 in either column 7 or column 9 to make the X count. Oh, and there's a 6 in one of those cells, so that's not 6. That's 8. Oh yes, so this was always nonsense to have 2, 6 there because that would have a 6 clash. So this is right. This 8 gives us a 2, 6 there. That can go orange as well. That's the count. That's green because we've used the clue. This now doesn't have a 2 in. 4 in the box goes there by sudoku. Yes, let's do some sudoku. I like it when a puzzle starts moving towards a sudoku end of the solve. 4, 3, 5, 8, 7. So 2, 6 are here. 1, 9 are here. We can do triples in this row. 4, 8, 9, 3, 5, 7. Now, we've done a lot of the across clues now. I've even done that one. I didn't mark it green, so there we go. Now, this hasn't changed. It's lots of possible numbers beginning in one of those 2 cells. Okay, the down clues, not very helpful because N could be almost anything, I think. especially as these are all uncertain, and the same's true in this column. So let's look up this column, which is a slightly large number of 25, but we've got some numbers appearing. So what are the possibilities here? Let's start with everything it doesn't see. So 3 and 4 it can't be. Now we're going to rule out a lot of these. Well, we can rule out 9, 8 and 7 straight away, because if you started anywhere from here upwards, you couldn't reach 25 in the number of cells available. If it was a 6, you'd be starting with that 3 and adding 2 more to make, and they'd have to equal 22. That's not possible. It can't be a 1, I've just remembered, because the only way you could have a 1 and a clue is if the clue was 1. So we're on 2 or 5. Can it be 5? 5 would start there. It would be adding 4 cells, and that doesn't quite work because those 4 cells would have to add up to 25. That would make these 2 have to add up to 18. They'd both be 9s. So we can actually do this. This is a 2. Well, okay, we can do that number. That means that the addition begins here. It's got to take at least 3 cells, and we can't put a 3 or a 4 in. So this is 5 or 6. Yeah, let's think about the outies now. I don't think it can be 7 or more, because then the outies would only be 2 cells. In fact, maybe it can't be 6. If this was a 6, the outies that would have to add up to 45 minus 25 equals 20. The 6 counting cells would be there. The outies would be here. And again, oh, that's beautiful. Again, the outies would have to add up to 20, take out that 2, and these 2 would have to add up to 18, and they'd both have to be 9s. So both for the innies and the outies, that has worked. This can't be a 6. This is a 5. The cells we're adding are there. Now the outies in this column, which are these and those, add up to 20. And we've got 2 5 down here, that's 7. So these 2 add up to 13, and they can't use a 5 or a 4. They are a 6 and a 7. We can actually fill them in because we've got a 7 over here. Ah, this is a very good puzzle. It's really interesting how it works. No, I've messed this up, haven't I? Sorry, I've done the wrong count. I didn't start from the 5 for some reason. Once I got that 5, I'm counting these 5 cells, which is a different kettle of fish entirely. Sorry, I misunderstood the rules, having thought I'd got my head around them. Right, let's do it again. These 5 cells add up to 25, and 3 of them add up to 12 already, so these 2 add up to 13. It's the same sort of thing. We can't use a 5 or a 4 in these 2 cells, so it must be a 6, 7. We do know which way round they go. They go that way round. And that clue's done fully now. And we've got a 189 triple up here. Now, let's do some tidying up if we can. And there's not much more to do. Now, I've still got some clues left to use. I've got this 19, which I haven't really thought about. Maybe this 2 definitely must have an impact on this, mustn't it? This either begins here or here. Oh, it doesn't have much. No, I mean, if this was a 3-cell count in those cells or those cells, well, it would be 325. Or 352, but that works fine in both places. It doesn't work fine here because there'd be a clash of 5s. But if it was a 4-cell count, it can't be a 2-cell count anymore because the 2 is there and you'd need a 7 here, and that's not possible. But it could be a 4-cell count starting in one of these and using 4 1 2 3 say there, or 4 2 3 1 there. So that is very unresolved. So I'm going to have to look at this or this or this. Let's look at the 19 clue, because the bottom proved quite profitable. I do have at least a 6 in it now. I'm going to just be utterly boring and fill in all the possibilities here. So 1 3 4 5 7 8 9 by Sudoku, but it can't be 1 because we know clues can't start in a 1 unless the clue is a 1. 7, well, it can't be 8 or 9 because you wouldn't have enough space to reach the target. Could you start here? You'd have to have a 3 here, and those would add up to 16. And that wouldn't work because you'd start with a 3 there if this was a 7. And then the 16 would be also using a 7, so that doesn't work. So that's not 7. So we are starting in one of these 3 cells. Now, what if we start on the 6? If that was a 4, then those 6 cells add up to 19, but 6 cells can only add up to 21 or more. So that is not a 4. It is 3 or 5. We're either starting the count here or here, looking upwards. Now, if that's a 5, this is 3 or 7. It can't be 7 because there aren't 7 cells. It could be 3, and then that's a 9 and a 7. So if that's a 5, this goes 3, 9, 7. That does seem to work. If that's a 3, what number do we get here as the X? A 4 would require those two to add up to 9. But the only way they're going to do that is if they use another 4. That's not right. So if that's a 3, we can't have a 3 here. Could we have a 5? With a 3 there and a 5 there, that would be 6. These would add up to 18, and these two would bust it way past 19. And this can't be a 6 or a 7. Right, that is not a 3. That is a 5. It goes here, and 3 is the start of the X sum. That's purple, and we know that these two add up to 16 to make the 19 total. They are 9 and 7. We know the order. This 5 has been done. That 5 looks into the corner and gives us a 6. Oh, we got a 3 in the corner. I didn't give it a song. I'm so sorry, 3 in the corner. There you are, losing your religion. Let's do some sudoku before I look at this row, because I can put 5 and 9 in these cells, thanks to that 5. There's not actually, is there more I can do? Maybe not. Right, now we're starting in row 6. But I still don't know, or in column 6, I still don't know whether we're starting with a 3 or a 4. Yes, I do. It can't be 3, 2, 5 because the 5 would clash with everything. So that's actually a 4. We're adding those 4. We've got a 1, 3 pair here. I can fill them in thanks to the 3 in the corner. And we get a 3 near the corner here. 1, 5 get fixed. Now, 7, 8, and 9. Again, let's tidy up the... Oh, I've done that clue as well. That's green. I've only got these two looking south to go. 7, 8, 9 to place in these cells. That's a 7, 8 pair because there's a 9 in their box. That's a 9. Those aren't 9s. This is tidying up I haven't done. That 4 is sorting out the 8, 4 pair. Okay, I'm going to keep doing a bit of Sudoku. We've got a 9 in one of those cells because of that 9. Then the others are 4, 7, and 8 in that box. In this column, we've got 1, 2, 4, and 8 to place. That one can't be 2. These can't be a 4. Okay, this isn't quite as helpful as I expected it to be. I thought... You see, I've begun to think we do have the right number of clues for this puzzle, surprise, surprise, and... Oh, that's 7. Yes, that gets 8 done there. Now I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quad here. I mean, I had that before. Don't know. 2, 7, I've done that. I've done all... Green says I've done the clues. Right, let's look down this 10 column where we've got this interesting 4. Okay, the Sudoku numbers this could be, which sees 2, 7, 3, 4, 9, are 1, 5, 6, 8. 1 is not possible. 8 would only require us to count those two cells. That would have to be a 2. They add up to 11 then. That's not the answer. 6 would make us start here with a 2 and an 8 there. 5, oh, 5 doesn't work at all because 7 is an illegal number because we can't add 7 cells, and 5 is going to give us a total far too big for 10. So that is a 6. That can go green. We're adding these two cells to get to 10, and we've got to start with a 2 and have an 8, and that clue is done. We've only got one left to do, but let's do some Sudoku tidy up first. Right, that's now a 2-1 pair. That's a 4-8 pair. 6, 7 and 3. In fact, we know where 6 goes in this box. That's a 3-7 pair. These can't have 8 in. 4, 8, 7, 6. These can't be with 2, 9. So 1, 5 and 3, 5 as the possibilities. 8, 1, 6, 4. Can't have 7. That is 5 or 9. 2, 5 or 9. 2, 3, 5 or 9. So I'm going to have to do this 11 clue, even though I haven't got any actual full digits until the end. Okay, by Sudoku again. 2, 7, 6, 3. We've got 1, 4, 5, 8, 9. 9's no good because of the back end of the column. 1 is never any good. So we've got 4, 5 or 8. So we could start there and do 2, 9. That looks like it's probably right. We can't start in row 5 because 1 would only give a total of 1. 9 is far too big a number. And we can't start in position 8 because we'd only be counting 2 cells. 2, 7 add up to 9. So that is a 4. We're starting there. It's a 2, 9 to do it. We've used all the clues now. They all go green. And now we must have enough Sudoku to finish off, which it's a little surprising at this point. For instance, those cells aren't getting, oh, maybe they are getting resolved. 4 can't be in those, so 3 can't be in those. Fixes these two. It does begin to look like it's going to work. 6, 8, 5, 9. That's become a 4. 7, 6. What have we got up here? 1, 5 and 9 to place. So that is 5 or 9. There's only one place 1 goes. That gives me an 8, 9 pair in the box. That sorts out 5 and 9. 1, 8, 9, 5, 3. So 2, 6, 4 and 7 to go in here. Ooh, chocolate teapot time. That quadruple is as useless as a chocolate teapot because every cell allows one of the alternative 2 fills. Oh, well, I'm a bit stuck now. Apart from that's got 3 options, but apart from that, this one clue that we started with, I'd forgotten it. I'd thought it was useless. It's not useless. It comes into its own right now. And it is saying that we start the count of one cell adding up to 1 in this row in either the 6th cell from that end or the 7th. Well, it can't be the 6th, so that is a 7, and that puts a 1 here. And it gets a colour as well, orange there and green there. I just forgot that clue in its entirety. So that's going to do it. We get a 4, 8 pair there. That's a 9. 3 and 7 are done. 2 and 1 are done. This is a 4, 2, 3. We will come back to you guys. That 5, 7 is done. Now that 5 sorts out these 1 and 3. Oh, they haven't looked into this. That 7 that we got does look into this chocolate teapot quadruple and sorts it out. That's going to do all of rows 2 and 3, I think. Looks like it, yeah. 5, 9, 9, 8, 8, 6. This is a clever puzzle. Now these must be done. Yes, 4, 8 is done. 4, 8. And we finish off with 8 and 9. Oh, have I not got the tick working or have I done something wrong? Just checking. I think this is right. Going to press the tick. No. What have I done wrong? I've entered things. Oh, no. No, this is quite seriously wrong. Oh, no. Did I get... It's not good. This is not good. So where was I finishing off? With that 8, 9 and 4, 8. I can't put 6 and 7 in there. Oh man, what have I messed up here? Just going to rewind now. I was at this point and I was feeling quite good, but it must already be flawed, I would think, here. 2, 4, 6, 7. What did I do next? 5 and 7 in there because of that. That looks right. Then that becomes 1, 3. Then I looked at this 7. What did I do next? 2 there, yes. 4, 6, 7. It doesn't look like it's failed at this point. Oh, well, it does fail if I put a 2 there in a row with a 2 in. There is my problem. What a numpty man at the death. Right, 5, 2, that's better. 5, 9, 9, 8. 8, 6, and I can finish these off properly. I'm so sorry about the late slip up. That's nice. That doesn't impair the puzzle. The puzzle's still brilliant. That's a really clever variant, and I suspect that you or I could work on creating a puzzle like this for a long time and never come up with one where there were so few clues around the grid and they were so ambiguous at the start. I loved actually that we came back to that 1 that seemed so utterly useless at the beginning, although it taught us a bit about ones in the perimeter. Oh, it's a really good puzzle. Thanks, Lizzie. And thank you guys for watching, as always, on the channel. Entertaining stuff, I think. Well, I would say that. But, oh, look. Yeah, those should be purple, not orange. All the downs have purples, and the downs and ups have purples, the lefts and rights have oranges. There we go. And that's the solution. Thanks for watching. See you again tomorrow for more. Bye for now.